Hello and welcome back to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden. If you're new here, the artist behind the channel. And if you're new, please, if you're really liking this content, don't forget to like and subscribe and maybe share with some other creative friends or family. And as you can see, this week, I decided to work in my other small journal. This journal is 8 by 10, and it's just a little easier to explore and play with. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So, so as you can see, I've used my brayer at the end of a painting session and just rolled from the palette some paint on, and I'll do a few pages and I'll just keep adding those colors, scrape it across either with my brayer or catalyst wedge, and I'll just get some starts of some surfaces. So I've got quite a few pages in here, so I scrolled through and this is the one that feels right for today. So working smaller, if any of you are beginners at this or just starting to get into it, is easier, less overwhelming, and also less inexpensive, especially depending on the materials you're using. I just love, and these are my favorite colors. And you've seen in other videos where I've tried other colors, and that's exactly where I'm going to be going next. But there's a certain feeling that I'm looking for, and I have discussed it in other videos, as you've heard. So as you can see, the teal golden is very opaque, and I just wanted some more of that previous layer to show through. And of course, I have no plan at all. I am just playing, and that is why I've titled it Abstract Art Journaling, Art Process, Play. And that is really important to play around. I usually and am finding and being more aware of this process after I've finished a larger project, like the Journey of 3 Paintings. That was quite a journey, and I really enjoyed doing those and learned so much. So I'm getting ready to, and getting a new space with a new camera equipment and such, so I can record while I'm painting on my larger canvas, 20 by 20, 24 by 24, even if I have to put it on an easel. So I'm just working that out and getting the lighting just right. So back to this one. I know I'm liking and enjoying the simple palette, and still I'm discovering so many different color combinations just with the orange and blue and the neutral color and yellow oxide, and that's just an orange. And I think it's either Liquitex or the brand from Michaels, because I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I live far away from lots of places. So art supplies, we have to go in, drive far, or of course order on Amazon. So starting these more atmospheric, and I know this one, it's turning more square in the areas in the background, and that's why I'm glad I did this today, because I know I want to move away from that slightly. At least in the first layers, I want them more just atmospheric, overlapping shapes or areas or whatever you want to call it. I think I want to work in thirds. That's a composition, and we'll get into that coming up soon as well. If you haven't yet joined my Facebook group, we are over 650 members now. Feel free to hop on over. I'm going to be putting up another Studio Sunday little tip or technique or something, and I usually do that every Sunday. And it will be a continuation of creating some really interesting collage papers that you want to make with your own natural marks, along with stenciling, because of course I've got some fabulous stencils. Thank you. And just layering your stencils so they're just as cool as your painting. So they really, you can sort of mirror, repeat, and do some really cool things with them. And in this next series, that was a bit of a jump there, because I guess either I ran out of power or the card filled up and I had to stop and delete some of my old videos and then join back up. So apologies for that quick change. So I let that dry. And as you can see, when you add the teal and the orange, it goes darker. And that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to learn and process while I'm playing around. And this kind of journal, and this is a separate journal. I have, as you've seen, I've got different journals for different purposes. And you don't have to do that. You can have your main journal and then just explore on even cardstock or, any kind of paper that can take some paint. So I'm still getting used to my color shapers and what can I do with them. I have a feeling, though, that I'll really enjoy using and experimenting with them more on a much larger painting. Right now I'm using canvas. So I've got two 24 regular width canvases and then a 24 by 30. And I think I have quite a few. So I'm looking forward to getting those all started. I'm painting over some old paintings and I'm going to work with some of them with these colors and we'll just see what happens. So I really like that piece of collage because it just covered up too much orange, because I like more blue and orange being a little bit of in this one anyway, the accent color. And the paper here is more of see how the yellow oxide it has in it? And then the orange is just that little extra bit of brightness. So I wanted to take it vertically just to break up too much of the square areas or the rectangular areas. And of course that edge I have a sharp edge, two sharp edges, and a torn edge. And that can be fun too. Tearing up your papers in different ways. And then of course, exploring shapes. And I think that's what I really need to do next is, and then you see all of this playing around and of course sitting after and thinking about and reflecting it, while you've let your intuition just go and you're responding and you're just playing and you're not overthinking, you're just not thinking too much. And today I just had to do that because I have so many things that I want to do. I just couldn't choose. And after a big project, I just can't plan. And I don't usually plan. I plan projects. But when I'm sitting down and doing a page, I want to just let it happen because that's the best discoveries are made that way. And I like this approach, this particular piece. It's the same stencil but rotated, first orange and then black. And then right there, it works. It just needs to be oh, did I trim? I didn't even trim it down. Well, isn't that fabulous? So instead of having that airy on this little piece, which I want to go for, and I'm just experimenting with ways to use collage, and I think maybe less collage, more paint for this next series that I'm planning. And just sitting and doing this and thinking about it later or afterwards, as I've said, you can learn so much. It helps you, and that I love that. So I decided, well, you know what? I'm just going to cut that out. So that forced me, just that, to have this collage piece in a different shape that I would not have planned. See, this is where you can learn about yourself. Like, oh, wow, look at that. I did this. I would not have thought of doing that. And then I took that negative piece, put it diagonally across, and it works. It just sort of reflects, relates. And then this little piece I've been trying to fit in the last couple of pages. See, it doesn't work there. I don't think any. Well, it's no, it's sort of odd down there in amongst the orange. So, yes, that breaks up that line that's in the middle. And I like it because it's repeating more of that yellow oxide. And I'm really enjoying having more complex collage. So tomorrow, for my Facebook group, that's what we're going to do. And I think I want to make a batch of transparent. So we're going to use tissue paper or some kind of transparent, translucent, thin paper. And yes, this is my go-to, my circles, but I just love them, and it's just what this piece needed. And if you were there, if you could see closely, the black paint is thick and it dries, so it has like a physical texture. So there's more of a physical texture there along with the visual texture. And here's a little leftover piece that has been rolled with the brayer, just with black. I believe it looks like it's newsprint. See, that would have worked there as well. But I put it opposite of the black and neutral. And just enough to just cover that line, that horizontal line between the blue and the orange area. So as you can see, I'm working in thirds, always odd numbers. So I've got 1, 2, 3 areas. I'm not worried. I wasn't really thinking of quadrants in this. I was thinking more of horizontal areas. And in hindsight, of course, now I think I would even have liked to extend that neutral area where the circles, the black circles are, the 4 circles, and extend it more to the right. And shrinking down that orange piece would have been maybe a little more interesting, but we'll just try something like that the next time. So after I do my voiceover right now, which I'm doing, I'm going to write your notes on the opposite page of your journal and just key things that you want to remember for next time. So value, ratio of orange and blue, and more neutral throughout, because I really find what I ended up doing as well, if you've noticed, if you haven't seen the journey of 3 paintings, which started out so colorful, and that was intentional, because I knew a lot of it was going to get covered up, so it needed to have some power. And the neutral really, really makes other things stand out more. Anyway, so here's this little black piece. So it needed to be, the energy of it is more horizontal than vertical. At least that's how the lines are going. And I love these little triangles and squares. They're fabulous. And I love to pick a bunch of, in which I usually, on the top of my pile, I'll go down a little bit. But I know there's some really nice stuff down in there. But I'll get that for the next page tomorrow. So I like that black. I didn't like the circle so much, but I really like the contrast of that heavy black painted paper. And I like black painted paper rather than just getting the commercial. There's something about the texture. So this is really nice, carrying across, continuing that horizontal feeling and moving the eye across, but just in a different way. And coming in with that orange area, I really like that. And I just have to find a place for these little triangles. Maybe up there, I don't know. I believe where I ended up putting it is the best for me. What do you think? I would love to hear your opinions, comments. I always love to start up a conversation as to when you can't make up your mind where to put a piece of collage. Do you listen to your brain or your heart? I would love to hear that. Hear your comments. I'm really loving this checkerboard or these diamond or rhombus. Thinking more about geometry because that's where I'm taking my class next. We're gonna do art and geometry. So if you're out there listening to this video, you're the first to know what we're doing in the class. And you know who you are. I just love these and this paper. Oh, you see how it has a sheen to it? It is so cool. And I think it was two packages of this paper. One was warm, one was cool. And it had so many different types, thicknesses. I really have to go find some more of that. But tomorrow we're making our own. Okay, so now it seems to be working, and what I've noticed is the top portion is a very big, wide, it goes from edge to edge, a big rectangle. You've got the circles, that rectangle, which is sort of part of the square. Then you have the yellow ochre next to it, another square, and everything is a different size. And then you have that curvilinear edges down below. And of course, I wish, or in the future, I'm going to put some more curvilinear, just if it works. It's just really nice to have that repeated throughout the piece, just at least in 2-3 spots. Now, this is my go-to, right? Circle or a half circle. And I thought, no, it's just not working there. It's just, why? It's the contrast is too much and it's too distractive and the eye just stays there. Okay, so since there's a lot of blue down below, and this is just a slightly lighter value, I decided to put it in the bottom below. And I think maybe some, you know what? It just didn't need anything. Just for this alignment. It's like there's an alignment of whatever this energy is, I'll call it for now, and of shapes, orbs, whatever you want to, whatever you think, whatever it means to you. And I don't want to be, that's the whole point of abstraction, is you're using the elements, it's a feeling. We're creating for a feeling, which can be very ambiguous and very, hard to find. It's sort of, it lives in the peripherals of your mind's eye, so to speak. And we're after it. I'm a lot closer. So, thinking of a layer of mark, line. So, in reference, let's go back to the different types of layers I used. I used a layer of paint with a brayer. Then I came in with those were opaque layers, transparent layers, then collage, then some marks with blue with the paintbrush, and then some stencil on the top. So you could repeat that again. Once you find a little process that you like, try repeating it and especially referring it to layering. And your layers, of course, don't need to go over the whole thing. It's just in the areas that are needed. And that's what it needed. It needed some drawing. And I've discussed how drawing is such a perfect difference to collage and areas of just colored paint, transparent or opaque. So this was from Stencil Girl, this particular stencil. And that one I just found this little black and white one. I know I have a new, larger one like this. These are handy too when you're working small. Just the little small Stencil Girl stencils. And but I didn't end up using it. But right now that's another Stencil Girl. And I'm looking for my little dots. Oh, there's another Stencil Girl stencil. All right, there it is. But then in the end, I ended up using both of those. I wanted to I thought I almost put the blue up top. And that's your regular titanium white. Liquitex. Basics. And, I left that area like that, so I might even try a layer. So if you want to try some layers and you're not sure and you want to be able to wipe off, of course, the go-to is a layer of gloss medium. Even on paper, it'll help. So I wanted to bring in those rhombus shapes, just a little more there, and that really is great. Just that extra layer and pushing that orange and yellow oxide or ochre, depending on what you have, back. Really cool. These changes, I know, are very subtle, but they just change the feeling. And that's what I'm playing with today. Just again, this endless exploration of marks, paint, collage, layers, opaque, transparent, etc. Now, this didn't turn out the best, and I know why. Just because I didn't use a dense enough sponge and load up your sponge enough with a dry sponge, or if you need to dampen it, of course, press out a lot of the water, because if it is damp or dry, see, those didn't really turn out. But that's okay. I know why. And we're just playing today and then trying to find the dots that I used. So I'm searching, then I thought, okay, that's close enough. And this little stencil is pretty thick, so I really need a dense sponge or a different kind of tool, which is okay. It's not bad. Probably with a larger shapes would have worked better, because there's enough little ones there with the triangles. So going large and overlapping with black with that interesting shape of a stencil, the black mark up above, that would have been better. Okay, so, oh, yes, I'm still getting used to my Posca markers. The big extra large one here is finally coming, but really have to make sure, and I'm learning because there's a lot of you out there already know how to use a lot of tools, which is great. Oh, yes, let's talk about that. What is your favorite tool for a drawing tool on your abstract collage or abstract art journaling? Besides paint and everything, if you're going to make a mark, you can use charcoal, pen, Posca marker, just a fine brush with paint. What is your favorite? And there's my little pipe there. So I thought, okay, let's repeat that, but opposite, which I love. Always love doing that. And it really does help bring that eye across. Busy counting them. I don't know why that was so important today. Who knows? So I thought I needed just a little bit more black. And I'm just playing today, so I just took my fine brush and I thought of outlining a row of I'm doing the spattering first. After that, I decided to do it. I love these little dots. And then I roll them with the brayer in a certain area just to get some, and this is what I did the last minute. I don't know if I like that, but I'm looking at it right now as I'm talking to you, and I think a very thin layer of that transparent white over it, or a tissue paper collage with some black or white lines on it. So I started this and didn't like it, and I'm so glad that there was enough of a surface there. It was still fairly wipeable, but it just made like a smudge, and I didn't mind that. And imperfection is better than perfection in art. So then I had this last minute, and I liked this one because it was very thin. Now, of course, pressing too hard, you see how you can change the weight of your line by pressing. So I started doing some artist trading cards with my class, and I love them because and we're just doing a practice one for now, and I'm debating how far to go with this layering. It's, this is quite a lot, but I think we'll at least do a couple of layers on a fancy one because they're just like miniature journaling pages, and that's how we're going to treat them. So I'm so excited. If any of you have done that, I would love to do a set. I've done lots of other different types of cards, or oracle cards, or, just stuff for your just personal kind of thing. I've not really used them or anything, but here we are. We are done, and there's the tissue paper that I decided to put last minute, but I did that off camera. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Explore, Play, Abstract Art Journaling art process, and I will see you in the next video.